Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Clearly.
On behalf of the Department of Home Science, we welcome you all on the third day of the International Webinar Series. It is an earnest request to all the participants present here to not to press the present button. It actually disrupts the lecture and causes utter inconvenience. And it would be very nice if we all could keep ourselves on mute. Do we have our first speaker with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Ubalidi, should we start? Ubalidi? Anna Lakshmi? Anna Lakshmi?
Yeah, I think we can start, no?
We can start now because our first speaker has already.
Yeah, please start. Sir has
Okay.
joined us.
Okay, that would be nice. Dear all, welcome to the third day of this international webinar series, which is being organized by the Department of Home Science, University of Calcutta, West Bengal, India. And this particular webinar series actually is to celebrate the National Nutrition Month, the Poshan Month, which has been celebrated here in India. It is the month of September. And the interesting thing about the subject of nutrition is that the kind of broad umbrella this topic of nutrition is covered, it is quite evident from the past 2 days lectures where we have enriched ourselves from beautiful lectures on food labeling to trans fats to the community health, and such diverse are the manifestations of this food, the economics of food, the socio-dynamics of food, the socio-historical cultures of food. So it is again on the third day, we have again very distinguished speakers with us, Professor Sarfaraz A. Vani and Dr. Shumanto Goswami. So without wasting any more of time, it would be nice. I would now like our research scholar, Amrita, to please come to the stage and please introduce our first speaker to the audience. Thank you.
Greetings and a very warm welcome to all of you on the third day of the International Webinar Series organized by the Department of Home Science, University of Calcutta on the occasion of National Nutrition Month 2020. Without further ado, we move on to today's main segment. Today's first lecture will be delivered by Professor Sarfraz Ahmed Wani. Professor Sarfaraz Ahmed Wani is presently acting as a professor and head of the Division of Livestock Products Technology Faculty of Veterinary Sciences and Animal Husbandry, Sher-e Kashmir University of Agricultural Sciences and Technology of Kashmir, India. His total teaching, research, and extension experience is about 31 years. He was the recipient of National Fellow Award from Indian Society of Sheep and Goat Production and Utilization. Professor Sarfaraz had published 60 original research papers, 8 book and book chapters, and a number of review articles in the best scientific journals along with his students. Dr. Sarfaraz carried out a study to find out the quality of Rogenjosh, a traditional Kashmiri meat product available at various outlets of Srinagar city in terms of physico-chemical parameters, microbial content, and sensory quality. A few years ago, Dr. Sarfaraz formulated a low-fat meat product for the sake of healthier lifestyle. It's our huge satisfaction to get Professor Sarfaraz delivering the lecture on the topic entitled Traditional Meat and Meat Products with special references to Jammu Kashmir. Participants, please do not turn your mic and camera on during the lecture. You can put your questions in the chat box. Welcome, sir. The platform is eagerly waiting for you.
Well, greetings from my side. I'm now is my presentation is my voice audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Then this sort of presentation has come?
No, sir. Actually, you have to share your screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm just. I'll just close and come back one
Okay.
second.
Thank you, sir.
I had kept presentation open, but not. Just loading the presentation. Something is going back here. Just 1 second.
Sure, sir. Audience, dear, please can you turn off your mic and camera, please?
Yes? Yeah. One second.
Audience, please turn off your camera.
Window का nice and how in करो entire screen touch how on
Hello, sir. Have you
yeah I have kept
put on the presentation on your computer?
Yeah. Just 1 second.
Okay. Open the presentation, sir. I am directing you to present it. Okay. Open the presentation.
Yeah. I opened the presentation.
And then go to the presentation.
Okay. Then in the Google Meet screen, at the bottom right-hand side, you will see present now.
Now you have gone to presentation.
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
No, presentation is visible.
Yes, sir. You have to go to the full screen.
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see your presentation.
Yeah. Sorry for the disturbance. There was something problem with my computer. I am highly thankful to this international organizer of this international webinar on occasion of the National Nutritional Week 2020, organized by Department of Home Science College, University of Calcutta, and having given me the opportunity to share some of the works carried and some of the traditional meat products, their processing technologies, other things available with us. As you are now aware that these products are actually frequently consumed foods or associated with specific celebrations or seasons, normally transmitted from one generation to another. These are called traditional products. Traditional food products are important part of Indian culture, identity, and heritage. Owing to the large number of ethnic groups with diversity in tradition, culture, and varied food habits, large variety of traditional food products of indigenous taste profiles are being prepared and consumed in India. And they form a very stable part of our daily food habits in many parts of the Indian subcontinents. These products vary from region to region place to place. These traditional processing has resulted in development of products which have very unique sensory attributes. They normally rely on their local resources, social and environmental conditions, and are the best source nowadays said to be for self-employment generation, improvement for self-employment generation for the local people in under our present traditional systems, because we want to have now improve. We want to share more and more our traditional knowledge and give the look so that world are aware of what we traditionally are, what our not only what we traditionally are, what we have with us. There are many traditional meat products available in India. They vary from region to region. In North region, there are a few products. Eastern region, there are Western region, Southern region, Himalayan region. There are also products which vary from the specific regions, like Dakkani or Hyderabadi specialties. They are Halim, Hyderabadi Dum Biryani, Paya, Nahari. Similarly, Jammu and Kashmir, we have Goshtaba, Naat Yakhni, Tabak Maz, Rista, Abgosh, Rogenjosh. Similarly, in Punjab, it's known for tandoori meat products. Uttar Pradesh, kebabs are very famous. Tamil Nadu, chicken. Then in Goa also, there are some products. This has been summarized by Mithil Kumar et al. Now, coming to the traditional meat products of the Jammu and Kashmir. The Jammu and Kashmir, as you are aware, are known for their, not only for their beauties, ranging from their scenic beauties. This part of the valley is also known for it, highly admired for its traditional meat products. This complete a group of cuisines of meat products. They have been collectively called as Wazwan. The Wazwan has derived its name from two products. One is Waza, which is called a chef, and the Wan, the shop. This Wazwan, when you come to the origin of this Wazwan, this has been said to be brought by King Taimur in 15th century. When he, along with different artisans, he brought some cooks with them, which were they called Wazas. This is actually a feast which is traditionally being served in the honor of served to the honored guests at important functions and marriage. It's a very important part of marriage ceremony in the valley. It constitutes many flavored, ready-to-eat meat products, which are usually freshly prepared and served hot as a part of separated meat. Some of these are rista, goshtaba, kebab, and others. These Wazwan items have been classified based on the type of names have been given based on the type, different names have been given based on the different varieties, like degree of communication, type of meat cuts used, processing methodologies adopted, nature of ingredients used. Like if we take examples, emulsion-based meat products are goshtaba and rista. They have coarsely ground meat products, kebab. Prepared from the rib portion is called tabak mas. Prepared from scalpel or sacral regions is called abgosh. These traditional meat products, especially Wazwan, during the course of the regions, different regions, there have been some additions, deletions, some more things and new are coming. And it has been seen that some of the products have origin from Persians, Turkish, Arabic, as well as Central Asian influences. Like kebabs, this is said to be have Arabic origin. Rogenjosh, Yakhni, Abgosh, Rista, and Goshtaba, they are said to be from Persian sources. Korma has a Turkish root. If you come to know what is this Wazwan, this is actually a multi-cuisine meal, which is usually served during the time of marriage and different occasions, comprising of different items ranging from 7 to 36. These are mostly meat-based and are cooked overnight in a range of fires, mostly on a wood fire, involving a spread of huge copper vessels. Mounds of mutton, chicken, and fish and vegetables are chopped and cooked in these. And now a lot of spices, condiments, and other ingredients are added. Some of the important Wazwan products are methi mas, danival mas, tabak mas, seekh kebab, fried chicken, fish patties, rista, danival korma, roganjosh, marchwan korma, paneer, abgosh, then goshtab, mechi kebab, and many more. If you see the order in which they are actually, I am just giving glimpse of the order which is normally served in the marriage. In the marriage, actually, a marriage or in big parties, they normally keep the people normally sit downstairs, and four people take one big plate and is served to them. In the single big plate, normally first rice is kept along with in the plate, methi mas, kebab, fried chicken, zabak mas is kept served to the guests on the first occasion. Then this waza or a cook comes with different dishes and serves in between. First she serves the annual korma, then followed by after some time allowing them to take then rista, paneer, then this is tomato paneer, Rogenjosh. Some vegetable dishes are also served like palak, meat, mushroom, quince apple. Some other things are also sometimes added, like they add this kishmish pulao, kishmish korma, then aab gosh. Then finally, before serving the final dish, goshtaba, marsawan korma is prepared, which is a hot dish to allow you to change your taste so that you can like the taste of the goshtaba. Now coming how these products are normally prepared in Wazwan traditionally. I'm coming one by one. I will share majority of what are the products. First is tabak mas. It's a popular product of Wazwan. As I told, it's prepared from the rib region. The rib portions of lamb or mutton are cut into small pieces, moderately steam cooked with salt and turmeric only. Then meat chunks are allowed shallow fried in ghee over a mild heat for a long period until it becomes crispy in nature and done. The variety of Wazwan, this variety is normally served without any gravy and is given at the beginning along with the dish. Next is kebab. This is a comminuted meat product. It forms an important component of the traditional cuisines and is nowadays taken important place in most of the fast food restaurants. About how it is prepared, about 40 grams of salt, spice, and seasoned chopped meat is pressed in a skewer, which is mostly steel or aluminum rod, and skillfully spread over it until it forms a uniform layer of about 6 to 8 inches length on the skewer. These raw kebabs are then cooked on charcoal boiling till doneness for about 3 to 5 minutes with constant and periodical turnings. When it's fully done, then it's rehydrated in mutton soup before serving. These, although they are being charcoal boiled, nowadays grilling and roasting and steaming is also done, but the charcoal boiled kebab had its own advantage. They are smoky flavor, better color, more yield, better juicy and texture. Some of the quality parameters which we have conducted from these kebabs in the market: quality, then appearance, the sensory quality also. The next is chicken fried, which is also served along with the initial dish. This is here in compared to other traditional meat products, when I place prepared chicken in different parts. Here, whole chicken is fried in a dressed whole chicken is fried together in a copper vessel containing vegetable oil. This is then given some seasonings and cut into 4 pieces and kept on 4 sides of this big plate for 4 persons to fried to be served. The quality of these chicken curry we have also conducted and surveyed, and their quality is also assessed. Sensory quality also. The next rista, which is a very important component of this traditional Wazwan. You see on the right side, this preparation is shown. Here, this is a comminuted meat product prepared from meat emulsion by traditional method of pounding. You can see in the first photograph, these wazas are pounding the meat, hot boned meat, manually on a flat and smooth stone called mas kain. Mas here means meat and kain means stone. And this with a wooden hammer called gosh bar. Gosh also means meat and par means hammer. Along with animal fat, around 20% of the fresh animal fat is added. First they are pounded separately, then mixed together and combination and formed an emulsion. This emulsion is then being molded, I could say in the second picture. They are molding it into balls, shaped structure, cooked for an hour and more in a gravy containing spices and condiments. In the downstairs, you can see the quality, the color, and the quality of these ristas.
Sir,
देखो,
please, sir,
yes,
please again present it again.
yes, which present?
Yes. Someone has done a presented himself and the presentation went out. Please
So
again present it again.
should I go back,
Yes, one slide back.
Rista, or one more?
No, sir, restart.
Rista. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Here, now you can see on the right side of this, this is the
Sir, you have to
traditional.
present the slide. Sir, you pardon
Eh?
me. Pardon me, I mean interrupting you. You have to
Yeah.
present your slide.
I am presenting the slide now.
Yes, sir, you have to present your
The
slide.
slide is visible, Amrita. The slide is visible.
There is some problem with you. It's slide is visible, I think. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. The slide is visible. We can see the Rista slide.
Yeah.
No, where? Purva, I can't say it.
That will be problem with you, but I am.
Please pin it, Pubalidi, because we can see it. It is visible.
Yeah.
Pin it.
Should I go? Should I continue?
Yes, sir. Continue.
This is a very important traditional meat, Kashmiri Wazwan products. As you see on the right side of this, you can see that the traditional cooks molding this, pounding this hard bone meat manually on a flat and smooth stones, which are called maaz kain. Maaz here means meat and kain means stone. With a hammer, wooden hammer, you can see on the right side of them, with a gosh par, which is also means here gosh means meat and par means hammer, along with animal fat. Around 20% of the animal fat is separately first pounded, then they are combined together and form the emulsion. This emulsion, in second picture, you can see this from this emulsion, small balls shaped structures are prepared, and then these are cooked for an hour or more in a gravy containing spices and condiments. In the downstairs, you can see the final product coming out of this. This is like your meatballs, but here you have very highly fluffy product, very soft, highly and fluffy product. Then compared to your other traditional meatballs available in other parts of India. This is the quality which we have conducted market surveys. Then we have also conducted microbiology at the market, and then sensory quality of these products, highly appreciable by people. Next is Rogenjosh. This is a combination of two words. Basically, Rogenjosh means red and Josh means intense seed. This is a non-comminuted meat product prepared from intact chunks of meat chunks along with bone. Here, an intact chunk along with bone is taken. These meat chunks are being first boiled in water, then cooked in the gravy containing variety of spices, condiments, salts, then also oils and other things, giving it a very flavorful, tasty product. This is the sensory quality of this Rogenjosh. Then this physicochemical quality, microbial and sensory quality of these products. Next is a korma. These are also non-comminuted meat products. There are different types of kormas served and many types there, but we can just discuss two Wazwan kormas which are very part of this Wazwan and normally served in each Wazwan product. One is Wazwan korma and another Danival korma. This Danival korma is a yogurt-based meat product. Here, intact chunks of meat products, they are cooked first separately in boiled water. Then yogurt is cooked prepared separately on a slow simmering heat with continuous stirring. In this yogurt, then cooked yogurt, then these meat cuts along with cut out soups is added along with other ingredients, and you are normally adding some very spices, especially very light spices, and this is allowed to cook till doneness. Meat becomes tender and doneness, and has very highly flavoring taste. Next is Marsawam korma. This is prepared first from boiling the meat in the water, then salt, spices, and condiments are added. Important component of this Marsawam korma is a red chili extract. Actually, this product is prepared and cooked on this red chili extract. This red chili extract along with other condiment spices are put in the vessel, copper vessel. Then this partially cooked meat is meat cuts, small meat cuts are put on this and allowed to cook on a slow heat until it becomes tender and done. Another is avgosh. This is prepared mostly from scapular and sacral parts of the animal carcasses. It is being prepared on a milk basis. Rather than this not yogurt, here it is milk based gravy. This lamb and mutton cooks, they are first boiled, cooked in water with salt, spices, ginger, garlic paste, any seed powder, and other spices. Then separately, milk is then boiled along with spices such as green cardamoms, onion, pepper, ghee. To which these, they are first boiled, partially done in this the quantity of the boil to do the boiling. They condense this meat, this milk, then add this mutton, partially cooked mutton in this, allow it to this milk curry, and stir thoroughly, continuously till it becomes boiled and have well done. Then another is goshtaba. This is also considered one of the most and best of all products, which I had already told you. This is also prepared in the same way we prepared rista, traditional method, pounding on hard bone meat, manually on flat and smooth stone called masking. The same way with a wooden hammer. Here, the difference is mostly the animal fat. Normally, it's more than 30% of the fat, which is prepared separately, first bonded, then added in this meat and forming a meat emulsion, and these meat emulsion are given a shape of bigger balls than rista and is normally served 1 for 4 person. These are cooked in a curd gravy, giving it a slight soury taste, allow it till doneness. Very highly flavoring product. This is the physicochemical quality of this goshtaba, microbial, then sensory quality. This is a video, I don't know. This I will escape, then I will go next video. I will give a full detailed, just brief video wherein different products are prepared. Then in addition to this Wazwan products, we have one more very popular meat product which is normally consumed especially in winter months, which is called harissa. This is just like halim we prepared in Dakkani, but here the consistency is thicker and it's slightly brownish in color than what we have halim. Halim is softer and fluidy type. Here it is completely thicker type and very popular, and is brownish appearance, semi-solid consistency, soft texture, typically meaty flavor with slight acido-aromatic taste. This is normally here meat chunks along with bones, whole meat chunks. Especially mostly they take full lamb part, whole shank area or full of this one leg is taken. This is slightly cut in 3 to 4 pieces and then put in along with salt, condiments, cinnamon, aniseed condiments, and boiled in water till meat gets separated from the bone. It's called even a thorough boil till you have complete doneness and meat gets separated from this bones get separated from the meat. The bones and the residues of spices are then discarded. Then this cooked meat along with cookouts, whatever fluid has come, this soup has come. This is homogeneous in a paste mass with the help of large wooden pestles. Rice flour is added as an extender with continuous stirring till final product is ready. At the time of consumption, harissa is being served hot by adding a spoonful of boiled vegetable oil over the harissa. If you have seen on the right side, the harissa is there. They add amount of this in the downstairs. He is adding harissa. Then he is adding on the right a spoon there in the right side. He will cook the oil on this spoon and then add it on the plate along with the roti. It is being served, especially in the morning breakfast, and is commonly consumed in the winter months. Now, some of the R&D initiatives taken by different institutions, mostly in the Sukhas Kashmir Union, IVRI, and Sukhas J, along these Wazwan products. First was the processing schedule, recipe for the development of emulsion-based Waz like goshtaba rista has been standardized by Samoon. He has also compared the study on the processing of rista and goshtaba and its effect on hot processing versus cold processing, manual mincing versus machine mincing, salt treatment versus phosphor treatment. There has been to improve the functional quality. We have also conducted some survey work on the incorporation of rosemary extract and alpha-tocopherol as an antioxidant to improve the quality of the rista and goshtaba. This has been carried by Hussain. This is 2001. Then we have also carried out some studies to development of low fat, because this, especially Rista or Goshtaba, contain more than 20% fat. Rista contains 20% minimum and Goshtaba 30%. So there is need. So we have trying to replace the low fat by replacing some animal fat with different replaces like sodium alginate, carrageenan, and hydrated oatmeal. Jalal 2011 12 has worked on this. She also worked on storage studies of low fat Goshtaba incorporating oatmeal. Also completed study of conducting quality of Goshtaba prepared by manual pounding and machine pounding. Then different extenders were also used for, especially for Sikh kebabs. In but 2009, he carried out extender using coffee, green gram, black bean on the processing of own roasting and microwave cooking of the Sikh kebabs. Then kebabs with the objective to see the effect of different types of meat, mutton, beef, and chicken, as well as processing methodologies, as well as type of extenders used for various kinds of kebab has been studied by Slavdi. We have also conducted a baseline study generating the quality in terms of physicochemical, microbial, and sensory, which I have presented during my presentation, Wazwan Products in commercial catering and shoots. We have also carried out some technological intervention to quality control, because there's always apprehension from some people that in mutton, rista and goshtaba, they may incorporate especially beef and other things. So we have developed, identified using multi-PCR technique. We have carried out one of our student identification of adulteration of mutton, rista, goshtaba, and kababa with beef using multiplex PCR. This is he has worked out. Then preservation studies have also been carried out effect of oleprine on the quality of tabak mud, because it's a freshly hot meat, just rib pork, and under normal conditions it gets very quickly spoiled. So under refrigerated conditions, he has found uses some oleprine and found its effect. Then influence of refrigerated storage on the quality of mutton and chivan harissa has been also been carried out. But still, there are so many research gaps in this traditional meat products, especially in Kashmiri.
Sir, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You are not audible, sir. Can you please check your mic or something else? Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Okay, sir. You are yes, sir. Now you are audible, sir.
Okay. Actually, I had got slightly down. Extending the shelf life of the product by interventions in the product processing technology and packaging strategies are to be worked out. Since these are health conscious consumers are now coming, and they want these Wazwan products to be taken. So development of functional Wazwan products are to be developed using fat replaces, modification in fat profile, natural antioxidants, probiotics, bioactive compounds, and a few of them. These are few of them. There are many more, and we need to carry out research and develop products so that they become a part of the Indian cuisines, not only in India, and we are in a position to export some of them. These are some of the market Wazwan products which are taken available in many of the multi-storied restaurant. This not only restaurant, this complex shopping complexes where they are serving food products, and especially they are served in India, but they are not much export. They are not being sold and export. We are not getting so much, not in a position to export because of the quality detergent has to be adapted for them. Now, to conclude, these cuisines of Kashmiri Wazan have a unique identity in culture of Kashmir. Festivals, functions, and marriage ceremonies are incomplete without Wazwan products in the feast. Because of the flavorful nature and sensory appeal, it is having a huge demand in local, national, and international market. However, it in the traditional way of preparation is time-consuming, demanding way, days of planning and hours of cooking. Hence, R&D efforts in its process optimization, commercial production, packaging, extension, shelf life, distribution, along with adherence to safety standards are inevitable for its popularization at international market. See, there are many these Wazwan products shops available in many parts of the country. Now, in international, in Dubai, in Europe, especially in Dubai, and in many even US and other places, some people are serving Wazwan products, preparing fish there, but they involve a lot of old traditional methods. So mechanization is a requirement. I'll just give us some brief video which I'm sharing with you. We can see now these. I hope the COVID situation will go out, and again the old tradition of serving Wazwan in 4 persons will come out. But at this present, how these being served, very difficult. You can see how they are preparing it. A brief video. Kebab is also prepared. You can see chicken is prepared, clean. This is the emulsion. Now Gastaba is prepared, being prepared. This is tabak mas, how it is being cooked in hot. Are you seeing the video? Chicken curry.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Yeah, kebabs. They are ready. This is Gastaba is ready. Kebabs are ready now. Vista. Rogenjosh. Palak paneer. Palak paneer, paneer separately. Yakni. Hope you might have gone through this. Now I've stopped sharing.
Thank you, Professor, for the interesting lecture. This was an amazing talk full of information and so delicious dishes we have seen you in your lectures, videos. So it is a very well understood to us. The lecture is very much well understood to us, all of us. So there are some questions.
Yeah.
Sir. I would begin with the first question.
Yeah.
That do the canning process of the meat produced products have effect on the taste differ from the traditional preparations?
See, canning, they are carrying, but since they are, as you I have already told, they are especially Goshtaba and Ishta, they are fat-free products. So canning, they are liquoring, they are adding it. They are trying to that canning does not have effect. Normally, within the permissible shelf life of 3 to 4 weeks, they don't have. But higher shelf life for that, preservatives need to be added. Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, what is the difference between the meatball and gustaba?
Yeah, meatball is you prepare what normally meatball prepared in India. They don't add any fat to it. They just mince it through a mincer, meat mincers and prepare. Here, emulsion these are emulsion based products. They are simply simple meat grinding products. Meatballs are simple meat grinded. They don't add any fat. Here,
Okay.
they are being added as a part of emulsion based product. Fat is added. 20% to 30% fat is added. In Goshtaba, the product is prepared in a it is cooked in a yogurt. Finally, so the yogurt taste comes within the Goshtaba. That gives the better
Okay.
flavored taste.
Okay, sir. So now, mushrad is the fish dish. I want to know what type of fish is used for this preparation.
This is mush kebab or this fish product. Normally, they are preparing local trout fish, or they are adding this katla rohumish fish, which is the less bony fish, and they are removing the bones, then prepare it this product and serve it as a sticky type on the along with the first part of the this trani and the Wazwan.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And the next question, sir, can you tell us about the one gun preparation, korma preparation?
Yeah, this Wazwan korma is a very tasty and hot flavoring product. Normally, here what we do, they take these smaller chunks of meat, just boil it, simple, just tenderness. Then they prepare separately, take a decoction of the whole this mirchi powder. Take a decoction of that. To that, they add this meat along with other condiments and spices. Allow it to cook in this meat, this hot chili powder extract. Then this chili extract is a flavoring taste on it, and it's a very tasty product out of that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, what is Dining fowl? How it is prepared?
Danival korma.
Yes, sir.
Danival korma is same different type of korma. Normally this the same korma, but here it is yogurt based. A yogurt, just like in Kashtaba we had meatball, but here a yogurt is prepared, simmered, then these meat chunks are added in this. Then finally dhania is added at the end. That's why it's called Danival korma. Dhania is added at the when this yogurt based meat product is prepared. At the end, green dhania is added. So it gives a and then covered with the plates. So to give a flavor of this dhania in this is referred as Danival korma.
Okay, sir. Now, is there any sweet dish in Wazwan?
জুম মিটিং করছে গুগল মিটিং বলটা করছিলাম ঠিক হচ্ছিল যারা স্ক্রিন কেন হচ্ছিল
Participant, please do
না না
not
ওই
mic
রেড বল
and
দিয়ে
camera.
হচ্ছিল পাপা রেড বলটাও তো
Sir, can I continue?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other question?
Is there any sweet dish in Wazwan?
Normally, sweet dish is not like this, but at the end of the Wazwan, they prepare halwa, which is a sweet, as you know, halwa is prepared and is served in smaller amounts for each. Nowadays, they are also giving ice cream at the end of the Wazwan, but halwa is traditionally giving or firini. Firini is also a product which is prepared from, as you know, from semai type. Firini is prepared and also served at that end of the Wazwan, but not in between.
Okay, sir. What are the mandatory spices that are used in dishes of Kashmir?
Normally, the mandatory spices include you have haldi, you have mirchi, then you have anise seeds, you have saffron, you have condiments. All condiments and spices are almost all are used here. All types of spices and condiments are used.
All types of. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
What is the health benefits of traditional Kashmiri meals?
Actually, these are their health benefits. Can't say health benefit. They are relaxed dishes and served as a marriage parts, but they are all good in amounts of protein, fat. So if taken in a limited quantities, they are good for the health. But in large quantities, can't say.
The same type of question, any such traditional products having functional value or any health value? The
This
same
is
type of
harissa is one of the functional health value because that has a prepared evenings and served in the morning, especially in winter. They give it a strength, especially when you have chilly winters. You take this harissa and then you full day you can go for work and without any taking anything. Normally in winters this is served. Similarly, this tabak mas has a very effective meat product and can be having health benefits also.
Okay.
Without any adverse.
Sir, I want to know more about yakni. Someone is asking for yakni.
Which yakni? Not yakni or yakni are two. Actually, one is Goshtaba yakni, which is along with Goshtaba. Then another is nati yakni. That is called same as avgosh or nati yakni. That is a chunks of meat are prepared in milk here rather than in yogurt. As I told already, chunks of meat are first cooked in water. Then simultaneously, seconds apart, you allow this milk, either fresh milk or reconstituted milk from the milk, powder milk. To this, you add some spices, condiments, especially this anise seeds and this green condiments. Allow it to partially cook halfway until this becomes slightly condensed. Then these meat chunks are added to it. Allow it to cook under slow heat so that the flavor of milk enters in within the meat chunks and it gives a taste to it. That's called yakni.
Okay, sir. Sir, what are the steps being taken to popularize our traditional product?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. There is this has a very high feasibility. We can go for as I all told, these all traditional meat products have very high. So they are good source of becoming a self-employment generation activities. But because of the lack of complete R&D, we have not come yet steps, although we are trying our best, that commercialization is needed.
Yes,
so
sir.
we had to take, we have already started some project on it under Ministry of Food, that how to see that commercialization part comes. In the sense that we want to utilize machinery in this, so that traditional cooks are getting some part of machine involved in it, so that mechanization come. Otherwise, under these systems, this mechanization is very slow, involve a lot of manpower. So when we want to go for a higher outreach, you need to go for mechanization. Some part of it should need to be mechanized so that output is more, and simultaneously safety standards are followed strictly, as well as health-based meat products are developed. Like we want to develop health-based rista and goshtaba. We have already conducted some studies. We want to take it in a higher R&D steps. If we could succeed, inshallah, and we'll be in a position to give good things will come.
Sir, I continue with your answer that is there any research work going on to further improvement of these products?
Yeah, we are already taking. Now we have recently sanctioned one. Ministry of Food has sanctioned one of the projects for us, and we are taking in this especially two meat products, rista and goshtaba. They have sanctioned 2-year project for us, and we are taking a bigger way for this.
Okay, I will going back to the delicious food items. What are the kinds of fruits that are used in delicious food preparation in Kashmir?
Fruits?
Yes, sir, fruits.
There is actually one fruit, and this is called a queen seed apple. That is prepared separately. A queen seed is a type of apple, queen seed apple, a queen's apple which is called, which we call here, normally we call it here, queen's apple is used. It's being chopped in 4 pieces, then cooked in a slow heat, and is also served during the Wazwan. Otherwise, no, except dry fruits. We are using some dry fruits like that's used for preparation of pulao and other things, and sometimes they prepare kishmish korma. In that they add some amount of this kishmish and other things. Similarly, only one major saffron is part of the pot, and that's being added here.
Okay, sir. I am continuing because there are a lot of questions I have seen. So, sir, can you highlight on Thimdu herb used specifically in Kashmiri dishes?
Which?
Thimdu herb. Thimdu herb.
I am not getting themed to her anything.
Okay, maybe Anna Lakshmi ma'am, please. You have questioned about Thimdu herb, but sir is refusing that the Thimdu herb is known to him.
Sir, Thimru herb is used specifically in Kashmiri dishes. Can you just highlight on that one?
What is that? I am not getting actually Thimbu herb.
The Dogras in Jammu, they use this herb for preparing chutney.
Yeah, they prepare chutney out of it, but not in meat products. They are normally Dogras, they don't prepare meat products in this. They prepare vegetable meat products. And this is called, in Kashmiri, Pandits also use that. I understand that. They, instead of lasan and other things, they use this Thimdu herb, and they are using it regularly as a part, because Kashmiri, these Pandits and Dogras, they don't take lasans. Instead of lasan, they use this as a part of the
okay. A replacement for garlic, isn't it?
Yeah, in the place of garlic.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, you have shown the packed products of Wazwan. What is the shelf life of these products?
Which product? Packed, yeah.
Packed product.
Normally, it is, they say under refrigerated condition up to 6 months, but I say it should be 6 weeks in the room outside. But they referred up to refrigerated up to 6 months. But I have found that up to 6 weeks, they are very good in quality.
Okay.
Under normal temperature.
Sir, how are these products guaranteed in terms of adulteration free?
Actually, these all, as you all meat products, whenever we prepare meat, it's a trust. We have to trust, and although we have conducted studies and we have taken, and many people have, there was many time back, court case was also referred to us when they has consigned these Wazwan products were consigned, seized by the government, by this export agencies, with the fear that somebody has complained they are using beef, although not available here, but they said they are using beef in it. Then we studied it in this one of the studies which we have conducted for our studies. Then we developed a technique, this PCR-based technique, and we found then we studied these. We went to these traditional Ista and Gastaba available in the market. We conducted how many have adulteration. We did not find any of the products normally have any adulteration from other meats. They normally prepare from mutton, because it's another thing is that mutton has its own flavor. If you change a basic ingredient, maybe you will develop a product out of it, but slight taste will vary. It depends upon the trust also, and how the preparator or the proprietor of the company prepares the product out of it. You cannot. It's a trust, and he writes on it. We have to believe. Otherwise, some FSI or some agency has to regularly collect their products and check their quality and other things, which is being normally done. They are sending it to FSI, and they are normally checking their products regularly. On there is a food quality food testing lab available from government, because they have to, whenever they send their consignments outside the state, it has to go through their certification, and they are normally checking it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, any attempt for commercialization?
The commercialization is going by local peoples they are doing at a local level. There are few companies already coming local products they are developing and commercializing it. Some products. Now we are trying. We are also trying our own ways how to see in the products. In this project, we have also to get some of the companies which are ready, or some of the innovatives, or some of the fresh startups who will be ready to take up these products after we develop some modified, in the sense, some amount of mechanization in this. We are hoping to get some mechanization in it, so that these products, then only a new startup will come up for developing the products. Already some companies, private enterprises are in this. There are some food processing products available, and they are in the industrial estates, and they are preparing and supplying to outside the state.
I'm continuing with this. Sir, is there any traditional product that is commercialized in country other than India?
Other than India?
Yes, sir.
Normally, these Wazwan products, they are not going commercialized outside India because of stringent they have to follow. But outside, they are preparing themselves, and some people are taking it. Some people on their own supply it to outside. I don't know how they are, but it's available in Dubai market. They are available. Some these Wazwan products are available.
Sir, someone told in the chat box that Thimru herb, it is known by many vernacular, toothache tree or Indian prickly ash in English. I don't know about Thimru herb, but someone told there.
Okay.
Sir, there is also...
Thank you for information.
Thank you, sir. Do you replace the fats in those dishes with some nutraceuticals?
See, we have already conducted some studies on using fat replacers, and we are now taking a large way for replacement of this fat, because animal fat, its own characteristics, it need to be replaced with. It cannot be 100% replaced. You cannot replace 100% fat in these meat products. You have to use. We have started working how much we can success, because simultaneously this doneness and flesh, the softness of the product should come. That is very essential.
Okay. Sir, the last question. In Wazwan, are there any meat pickle preparations?
Not meat pickle preparations. They are not preparing any meat pickle preparations. All the meat prepared, but here meat pickles are prepared by some people. Are there? There is one person who has developed fish pickle, meat pickle, mutton pickle. He is supplying it in the local market in commercialized way. But in Wazwan, there is no meat pickle served. However, other vegetable pickles are served along with this chutneys and other things.
Okay, sir. So there is a lot of questions, but I cannot because
if somebody has other questions, they can send me through their mail to my mail.
Sir.
You share them, I will reply them, each and every one.
Sure.
Whatever is there,
Whatever
is their queries. If they want to some information, what we have done R&D work also. What are their? I had actually in my last presentation somewhere in Calcutta, I had presented some data of the research works carried, but here I did not present because this is a different type. There I have presented data what in our R&D activities, what are the outcome of these things. That if somebody is interested for that also, he can send me the mail, and which specifically what he wants, we can reply to.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again for such a long duration, for such a question answer session of long duration and satisfying us.
Thank you.
So thank you, sir. Thank you once again. Purba ma'am, have you any question or have you anything to talk?
I just want to thank sir.
Sir, on the behalf of the Department of Home Science, University of Calcutta, we thank you from the core of our hearts for being so patient, and undoubtedly on this third day, this lecture has been the most delicious of all the lectures, because one thing I was just thinking, that we come from culturally diverse background. You are from Kashmir, we are from West Bengal, and there are many people, because this is an international webinar, from all the corners of the world we have collected. But the one common thing, the common string that bounds us is food, or the passion for food, and the smiling faces. By seeing your wonderful presentation guarantees that you have touched that chord. And what a wonderful experience, sir. We wish you all the best, and we thank you so much for sparing so much of time for us and being so patient with answering all the queries. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm also thankful to Arun Das, who, my colleague, my friend Das, who just told me to be part of this. Thank you very much. Also thankful to all the organizers for being a part of this webinar. If you have anytime, I'm always ready to share my experiences. I mean, let me tell that I have been around 31 years of my service. I have been the Dean of the Veterinary College for more than 5 years, then Controller Examination of the University more than 2 years. Now I have come back to my own department to strengthen my own activities and hope best of it. And if you have any other queries, always to reply, do email me at sarfrazavani@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Pugalidi?
Yes. COVID video.
How will you train of the COVID warriors? Their experience.
Now we will play a video on the COVID warriors. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So now we will move to COVID-19, as it is the most important part of our daily life. It has become, and we will felicitate some of our students who are working day and night as nutritionists, dietitians in the different hospitals of Kolkata, West Bengal. So I want to pay. I want to felicitate them, and for them we have made a video and their experiences. We will share their experiences, and then we will move to the second speaker who has done a great job, and we will Dr. Shumon Goswami, and we will hear from him a new technique that he has developed and for COVID-19 testing. So first, to felicitate the warriors from our department in the field of COVID-19, fighting for COVID.
अभी आया आपने एक्चुअली मैं आप इसके आप मानसबल में लास्ट में आप मानसबल पोस्टिंग थे। अच्छा ठीक है, मैं पारा से बात करूँगा। वहाँ आपके पर
Admins, please mute all the other people, or else we can't hear the video then.
हमें याद है हमें
Can you hear?
2020. The entire
We
world
can hear, but please mute all other people.
due to the alarming rise in cases of COVID-19 around the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern, the highest level of alarm under international law. It confirmed the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. On 24th of March, the government of India ordered a nationwide lockdown for 21 days as a preventive measure against the COVID-19 pandemic. When the entire country is under lockdown, frontline COVID warriors were visible in their light. The
Amrita,
doctors,
is the screen visible?
lab technicians,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The
Screen.
screen is visible now. The screen is visible now for the present for the video.
Okay. Okay.
and several other government officials were working day and night to serve the nation, to serve the people in this emergency situation. Diet therapy is a crucial aspect of treatment in any disease, including COVID-19. Dietitians and nutritionists have an important role to play in reducing risk of complications, shortening recovery times, and rehabilitation. Several students from the Department of Home Science, University of Calcutta, are currently working as dietitians in reputed hospitals across the country. Therefore, on the occasion of National Nutrition Month 2020,
Sir, ma'am, I am interrupting you, ma'am.
press
Ma'am, there is some problem in the video running.
are seniors,
Ma'am,
batchmates,
ma'am,
and
can you
juniors
hear me?
dedicated to
Subali, ma'am, can you hear me?
in this pandemic situation.
There is a problem in the running of the video.
COVID warriors.
Where is Steve now?
Did you finish?
Can you please run the video again, ma'am?
इलीगल माइग्रेशन है मैंने अपने शायद में पहले जब हमने माइग्रेशन किया ना मैंने क्लियर लिखा था कि मुझे नहीं लग रहा कि शी फिट्स इन द वो वही वजह है और वही वजह है कि आज ये लोग मुझे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में आने नहीं देते वो जो मैंने लिखा है ना फाइल में रजिस्ट्रार और वाइस चांसलर को पहले से ही घटन ही इसने क्यों ये है तारक मसूद की भूमि लेकिन तारक मसूद का चक्कर नहीं है कुछ और चक्कर है कुछ और होगा हमारे बताए हाँ वो तो लिखते हैं उन्होंने कंप्लेंट में लिखा है खुदाई साहब ने
Ma'am, it is not audible. Ma'am, it is not audible now. It is not audible, ma'am.
ये तो यही है ना
Professor Sarfraz sir, Professor sir, pardon me. Can you please mute yourself?
Yes.
Pardon me, sir. Can you please mute yourself?
Okay, I will do it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Ma'am, the video is not audible again.
Ubalidi can't hear.
Ma'am, the video is not audible again. Ma'am, we can see the video, but it is not audible.
In cases of COVID-19 around the world,
We
the
can
world
hear. Now we can hear as well as see.
public health emergency of international concern, the highest level of alarm under international law, who confirmed the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. On 24th of March 2020, the government of India ordered a nationwide lockdown for 21 days as a preventive measure against the COVID-19 pandemic. When the entire country was under lockdown, the frontline COVID warriors were busy in their duty. The doctors, nurses, lab technicians, pathologists, dietitians, other medical staff, the sanitation workers, the police, and several other government officials were working day and night to serve the nation, to serve the people in this emergency situation. Diet therapy is a crucial aspect of treatment in any disease, including COVID-19. Dietitians and nutritionists have an important role to play in reducing risk of complications, shortening recovery times, and rehabilitation. Several students from the Department of Home Science, University of Calcutta, are currently working as dietitians in reputed hospitals across the country. Therefore, on the occasion of National Nutrition Month 2020, we take the
Mm, there is some technical problem occurring, which I am not sure, but it will be sorted out very soon. Ma'am, we cannot see the video. Ma'am, Pubali ma'am, can you hear me? We cannot see the video, ma'am. Ma'am, can we proceed with the lecture? Ma'am, can we proceed with the lecture? Purva ma'am, can you hear me? Can we proceed with the second lecture?
Is our second speaker with us?
Yes, ma'am. He is with us. He joined us a few minutes ago.
Okay. What happened? I really don't know.
I'm not sure, but there is something technical fault, I think.
So it's better that we move on to the next lecture, I suppose. Would be
Okay,
nice.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So, dear all, we can see that there is some kind of a technical snag, and that is why we are also very fortunate that our next speaker is with us already. He has joined. So without wasting much more of the time, I would like Amrita, our scholar, to introduce Sir and invite him to the dais.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker for today is Dr. Sumanto Goswami. Dr. Sumanto Goswami is currently working as an associate professor and the chair of biology in Yeshua University, New York, USA. After conducting his postdoctoral research at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, He became an assistant professor in the biology department of Yeshiva College in 2006. His research is on identification of biomarkers that can predict metastasis, drug and radio resistance in breast cancer patients, targeting micrometastasis in breast cancer, and identification and characterization of breast cancer stem cells. His study aims to identify the potential markers and molecular mechanism for the drug resistance, as well as to find out the drugs that will be most effective in metastatic and drug-resistant cancers. He received the Best Poster Award at the 3rd Tumor Progressive and Therapeutic Resistance Conference. Dr. Goswami has published 70 research articles with 5,098 citations in the best scientific journals, along with his students and his collaborators. In this year, 2020, due to the alarming rise in cases of COVID-19 around the world, the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern. In the present scenario, it's our enormous opportunity to hear Dr. Goswami on the topic entitled New Diagnostic Assays for COVID-19. Again, I request the participants to keep yourselves mute and put your questions in the chat box. Welcome, sir. This is the moment that we have been eagerly waiting for.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Amrita, for the nice introduction. I don't think I deserve that much credit, but I'll take it. So, and thank you, Pubali, for inviting me for this. Now, can you guys please make me the host so that I can share my screen?
You can share your screen, sir.
Let me see.
I think
I'll do that.
if you share your screen, it will be working.
Okay, it will be working. All right, let me try that.
I think so.
Let me just see. Hold on. Change layout, full screen. Okay. All right, meeting details. How do I share my screen now? Present now. Let's see.
Yes, sir.
The entire screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen? No, I have to share. Hold on. I have to share. So, right. Give me a second.
So you have to select the entire screen and then.
Yeah, I did that, but then now the entire screen is selected and I'm trying to share, but it's not allowing me to share entire screen. Cancel. Let's go again. Present now. Your entire. Okay. You see, when I select this entire screen, it's not allowing me to screen. You have to make me the host in order for me to be able to do that.
Okay, sir. We are trying to do this.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Pubali ma'am, can you hear me?
Okay, let's see this. Okay, now it'll work. Okay, okay, got it.
Okay, sir.
Got it.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you very much again. So, I don't. When I first heard about this conference, I was excited because Calcutta University is where I did my BS and MS, and then I moved over to All India Institute of Medical Science, New Delhi, to study cancer. So I'm a cancer scientist working on COVID-19, talking in a nutrition conference. Okay, so this is as diverse as it gets. Like Amrita said, I have multiple appointments, and I am currently in New York for the last about 20 years. And after doing postdoc in Albert Einstein College of Medicine, I joined Yeshiva University, where I have been for about, I think, 13 years now. And now I'm the chair of the department, but I still maintain relationship with Albert Einstein College of Medicine, where I have a shared lab and federal grants and things like that. Okay, so like Amrita said, when this at the beginning of this year, when COVID sort of hit upon us tremendously, I decided that I have a very strong and long molecular diagnostic background. So I wanted to sort of get involved in molecular diagnostic of COVID-19, and I will tell you what I have been doing since then. Okay, I have a few disclaimers. This field is huge and rapidly expanding. In about 20 or so minutes, I can only cover a very small part of it. Apologies for those that are not covered here. Okay. Data presented here includes work done at Anotech and Albany Labs, 2 companies where I own stock. I'm going to show some unpublished data, therefore please respect the source. So COVID-19 diagnostics has brought upon us a very serious situation, wherein we are unable to, initially when the disease first came upon to us, we did not know what the disease was. We didn't know how to detect it. We didn't know how to go about it at the beginning. So in the video that you just saw, there were people wearing, spacesuit kind of dresses. Later on, we realized that that's actually not needed. So a lot of resources were wasted and a lot of lives lost because of not knowing anything about this disease. So, but one very good thing came out of this, that is the entire world teamed up to develop diagnostic methods for this new test. Normally, a molecular diagnostic or serological assay diagnostic test for any new disease takes months, if not decades, to appear. However, COVID-19 was an exception in which the sequence of a brand new virus was available in January, and by mid-February, there were diagnostic tests available all over the world. This speaks volumes in terms of collaborations between scientists and politicians and private companies, and they pretty much all over the world. So this is a very, very good thing that COVID-19 has brought amongst us. In my talk, I will outline different molecular diagnostic and serological techniques that are available and in use today, some of them that we are using in our own lab as well. I'll introduce a web-based code which can be used to predict the fate of COVID-19 patient based on symptom and comorbidities at the time of disease presentation. All of you know that, especially in resource-poor countries like India and Brazil, which are currently going through a devastating situation, wherein local hospitals and local clinics are getting overwhelmed with the number of patients. So I'm going to present today 2 approaches, one by using a web-based code, another by using a molecular diagnostic technique, which we are sort of developing. It is not yet ready, but we're still working on it, wherein you will be able to identify, using the code, you'll be able to identify which patient has a higher chance of the disease becoming progressive and very, disease becoming serious and the patient dying and things like that. So you want to identify those patients and try to give them the benefits of whatever little resources in terms of hospital care and everything that you have, especially in the smaller towns and smaller villages. The second test that I'll talk about a few new tests that are in the horizon, including a subgenomic mRNA detection test being developed by our own group. This unique test is arguably capable of identifying patients with active infection and thereby focusing the isolation resources on patients who are actively shedding live virion. Now, here's a typical scenario. You could get in your clinic or your hospital a patient who is very sick, but that patient is still not actively shedding virus anymore. So that patient does not need to be segregated, nor does the limited amount of personal protection devices that are available in the hospital needed for the people who are providing care to that patient. So this is one of the key areas that people need to know, that patient who is sick versus patient who is shedding the virus need to be separated. So we are working on an assay that is hopefully going to be able to do that. Right. So let's talk about the diagnostic paradigm of COVID-19. I'm sorry, this slide is a little hazy, but this is what I have for the time being. So this is on the x-axis is time, and the y-axis is relative amount. So in the x-axis, you see that immediately upon infection at day 0, within a very short incubation period, the viral load reaches a peak. The viral load reaches a peak by about 2 weeks, and by 3 weeks, the virus is gone from the body. Okay, this can change a little bit, not a little bit, it actually can change quite a bit in patients who go on to develop what is sort of a chronic infection, wherein they still have active virus for an extended period of time, but that number is very small. Majority of the patients, even if they ultimately become very sick later, lose the virus by about 3 weeks' time. The second line is for the antigen, the protein of the virus, which can be detected again till about 3 weeks. Immunoglobulins, starting with immunoglobulin M, begin to appear at about 2 weeks and reach peak by about 3-4 weeks and then die down. And finally, immunoglobulin G, comes up by, begins to get about, start about 2.5 weeks and then reaches a peak by about a month and a half, maybe 2, and then stays there for a long time. For how long this IgG stays is debatable at the moment. There are multiple groups who are working on this, and they have shown that the IgG dies down within a very short time. So utility of vaccine is being questioned. Utility of initial infection is being questioned. Currently in the world, there are about 4 to 8 patients that I know of who actually have been reinfected. 4 patients definitely, 8 patients there's a suspicion because of 4 more patients. But just to remind you that this reinfection is very, very rare. So if one person has had the disease, whether he became sick or not, the chances are that he will not get the disease the second time. So at the initial stage of the disease, till the time when the virus is present. Hello? Okay. Please mute your microphone. So at the initial stage of the disease is detected by antigen tests, which includes PCR as well as ELISA for antigen. ELISA for antigen is not very common, but there are a few companies who are offering that now. Majority of the people are performing PCR tests in order to detect the presence of the virus. After about 3 weeks, immunoglobulin detection tests, ELISA, or even the rapid tests that are available from drop of blood are functional, and you would be able to detect immunoglobulin M and immunoglobulin G in COVID-19 patients. Now let's get a little in depth into the biology of this virus, this brand new virus. And Professors Kim and Chang from the RNA Institute of Basic Science, South Korea, presented this elegant work where they showed that when the virus attaches a human cell through the ACE2 receptor, it releases its genomic RNA, which then is, along with it comes the RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, which is reverse transcriptase, which makes the negative strand available inside the cell. Up to this stage, you have the infection. You are not actively shedding virus. After that, what happens is the virus now produces a whole range of subgenomic RNA, which go to the rough endoplasmic reticulum and allow packaging of the genomic RNA into the new virus. So new virus gets replicated, the genomic RNA gets replicated, and the virus proteins are made by the subgenomic RNA. And finally, the virus bursts out, goes to infect other cells. This is the stage in which a patient is infectious. Prior to that, the patient is not really infectious, nor is the patient infectious after these cells have died. So polymerase chain reaction, or real-time RT-PCR, is the method of choice for detecting the presence of viral antigen. Different portions of the viral genome, which is about 30 kilobases, have been selected by different countries, scientists from different countries, with United States initially started off with the N region, the reason for which I will tell you in a minute. Japan also focused on the N region. Germany, France, China, and Hong Kong focused on the ORF-AB region, and the E region was arbitrarily picked up by many different people. Now, in this process, it's quite a simple process. You take the patient sample, which is nasopharyngeal swab. One thing to note, this virus is not present in blood. Therefore, if you take blood of a patient and do qRT-PCR, you will not be able to detect the viral RNA. So the only place where you can find this viral RNA is in the nasopharyngeal swab. Some people have tested stool, some people have tested some other samples too, but definitely not blood. So in this method, you extract the RNA and perform real-time PCR, wherein you amplify that RNA, first make it into cDNA and then amplify it by PCR, and detect it using a fluorescently labeled probe called TACMAN, which identifies the relative amount of RNA present in the sample. Now, the method by which this test is detected is a process called cycle threshold, or CT, wherein as the number of PCR cycles increase, the amount of the amplified material goes higher and higher, and we are able to detect by this cycle threshold method the relative amount of RNA that was at the starting point. Now, CT is inversely proportional to the amount of RNA. That is, a higher CT indicates lower amount of starting material. This you have to remember whenever you are looking at CT data, that CT is inversely proportional to the initial starting amount of RNA that was present in the sample. Another very valuable method is called an enzyme-linked immunoadsorbent assay, or ELISA. ELISA has been around, and actually qRT-PCR also has been around for quite a bit of time. This is not something new for COVID-19, but using ELISA, people are specifically looking at the N protein, which is the nucleocapsid protein, and the spike protein, which is present in the at the end of the virus, which actually binds to the ACE receptor, allowing the entry of the virus into the cell. Now, there are three kinds of primary antibodies which are being detected currently. I showed you the presence of IgM and IgG. Some of the groups are also measuring IgA, the reason for which is totally different. IgA gives us the initial innate immunity, which actually is protecting many patients to begin with. So some of the groups are actually reporting that if you have a high amount of IgA, you may be actually protected from the viral infection. But that work is still, the jury is still out. We don't know how long that's going to, how much that's going to stand. Now in ELISA, the primary antibodies are detected using secondary antibodies labeled with an enzyme, which makes a colorless substrate product into color. So, and then finally you scan it in a plate reader and you get the results. Okay, there are a few new tests, point of care tests in the horizon. Abbott's molecular test, which is actually not just in the horizon, it's in use right now. It's a process using a process called LAMP. It is not using PCR. It's using a process called LAMP, which is an isothermal DNA amplification method, able to give positive results within 5 minutes and negative results within 13 minutes of starting the test. A rapid point of care red blood cell agglutination assay for detection of antibodies against SARS-CoV-2 has been developed by University of Maryland, Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, where when this becomes available, the idea is that a drop of blood and a drop of reagent will give the result immediately. That is, within a few minutes, you will be able to see if there are antibodies present in the serum of the patient, and there will be agglutination of the red blood cell. This is still a work in progress. So rapid detection method by a group in Germany and I've heard about this from a group in Israel as well. They have developed a method by which, from the breath of the patient, you can get a filter wherein the breath of the patient will be collected by very much like a spirometric method, and then take that filter and do mass spec analysis on it, and you will be able to detect the presence of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Again, this is a work in progress. I don't know when it will be available for use, but when it does, I'm sure this is going to be a game changer. A company called Sophia has developed an fluorescence immunoassay, which is detecting the antigen. Remember the rapid point of care. The second test that I mentioned here is an antibody test, and here it's an antigen test where using immunofluorescence-based lateral flow technology, they are detecting the nucleocapsid protein directly in the patient sample. Okay, Marsa Biotech has developed a qualitative and visually read system of polymerase chain reaction, which can give the result within 30 minutes. Talis One is a system of molecular diagnostic platform developed to enable rapid, highly accurate point of care for infectious disease such as COVID-19. Okay, now let's come to stuff that we are doing in my lab. I'm going to talk about a COVID-19 disease progression score calculator, and it's currently available free. Anybody can use it in a company website called Nanotech. And let me go to that website and show you the calculator. Now, we had developed this panel using recommendations from a UNESCO panel of experts by clinical literature search and CDC and WHO's recommendations. So basically, if you see here, there are different parameters of a patient when he or she is presenting himself or herself at the clinic. At the age, what is the gender, whether you're immunocompromised, whether you have lung disease or asthma, or you are a former smoker, diabetes, kidney disease, high blood pressure, heart disease, liver disease, rheumatoid arthritis, body mass index. For those of us who do not know our body mass index, we have a way of measuring that on top. That is, if you put in your height, weight, and your, in either pounds or in kilograms, you will the body mass index will be calculated there for you. So using that, you put in the body mass index here. If vitamin D levels were known at the time of clinic presentation, blood pH, lactic acid, hemoglobin concentration, ferritin, and D-dimer concentration, along with C-reactive protein and procalcitonin were known, if you feed in that data, the computer, the code is going to give you a score. If the score is higher than 1.5, then you're considered high risk. And if your score is less than 1.5, then you're considered low risk. Okay, now let's see. I can get back to my PowerPoint. All right. So let me show you the example of using this calculator. So using this calculator, a group of students this summer, high school students and college students actually, they used this risk factor on a trainer set of 81 patients, and the outcome was applied to this calculator, and the correlation p-value came to less than 0.005. So now, so basically what was done was that you took the data, the known outcome. That is, if you knew the patient had died, one, or the patient had stayed in the hospital for like 2 months, or the patient became very sick and nearly died, was on ventilator for a month or something like that, then we gave him a score of high risk. Okay, and if the patient was in the hospital briefly, was cured very easily, then we gave him a risk of the low risk category, put him in the low risk category. So, and the initial criteria of those patients was put on this calculator, and we checked the score. So the score and the known outcome of the patient were correlated, and we found a very strong correlation with a p-value of less than 0.005. We have recently acquired a very large data set from Europe, which has about 600 patients, and we are performing multivariate analysis on it to see if this can be used. But I recommend anyone who has access to patient information, anyone who has access to even your own family members who have the disease, you can actually try this website and see what the outcome is going to be. And of course, if you have any interesting findings, please report back. You can the point of connection is available in Nanotech's website. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a molecular diagnostic assay, which is bringing about a paradigm shift in RT-PCR today. Right from March of this year, all the way to actually now, a number of different publications were coming out in very highly respected journals where they were showing that a patient is getting reinfected. Okay, now that was a big risk. That was a big risk. People were trying to see, then that means how do we cure ourselves of this disease? But as much as I think somewhere around March, the idea initially started coming, but by April, May, they realized that these are not reinfection. These are actually, the RNA is floating around in the system for a lot time longer than was originally expected. Okay, so though I must, and then the idea is that dead virus fragments are causing COVID-19 reinfection, which is possible. Though very recently, in August, scientists have reported several cases of COVID-19 reinfection, but however, that several is really, really very small. Majority of the patients who were found to be positive were actually false positive. So what does that mean? I'm going to go back to the paradigm slide that I had showed before and add a new section. So what is really happening is, though the virus is long gone, the viral fragments are remaining in the remaining in the nasopharyngeal samples for an extended period of time. Therefore, at that time, PCR is false positive. So if you have a patient in this time frame who could be quite sick, but that patient does not really need segregation, that patient can be put into a hospital bed where there are other patients around. You don't need to necessarily put that patient into a single room and use up all your resources for that. Okay, so this has huge implication on resource mobilization and reopening of the economy. If a person is just viral fragment positive and not virus positive, then that patient can actually go back to work and continue his normal life. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you how we are doing this test. The virological assessment of hospitalized patients using COVID-19 was a paper that was published in Nature this year, where very elegantly the authors showed that if you can somehow detect the presence of these subgenomic mRNA, which I spoke to you about at the beginning of the talk, if you can somehow detect the presence and the ratios of these subgenomic mRNA, you would be able to predict, you would be able to identify which patient has an active virus and which patient does not. So using a very elegant technique of identifying subgenomic RNA, these authors identified subgenomic RNA detection system for this E gene, the envelope protein, actually the envelope protein. We have subsequently gone on and studied a number of other proteins and are finding much better result using those data. This work is being done in a molecular diagnostic laboratory called Albany Labs, which is an active COVID-19 laboratory in Albany, New York, and we're working on a lot of different scenarios, including the assay that I just told you. Okay, so let's go on. So what are we, so basically the idea here is the detection of subgenomic mRNA. Now, actually we have developed about 3 assays. I'm going to talk about only 2 of them here. Both of them, all 3 of them are actually detecting this, the subgenomic mRNA, but only 2 of them will be presented here today. So using a smart multiplex qRT-PCR system, we are identifying the subgenomic mRNA E or subgenomic mRNA N. So this one is identifying N and comparing the ratio of this mRNA with this one. So this one does not have a subgenomic counterpart, only is so the only detection that you get here is the genomic, and the detection that you get here is genomic plus subgenomic. So utilizing this qPCR assay, we are able to identify both the presence of the E subgenomic mRNA and the N subgenomic mRNA. And work is currently on to try and correlate that with virus in culture, patients who have positive viral culture versus patients who have negative viral culture. We're also using a cybergreen method because remember, our main agenda is to bring this test cheaply and easily to resource-poor setups who are currently going through this this pandemic in a very bad way. So this QRT-PCR-based method utilizes the same machines for RNA extraction that people are using for a regular QRT-PCR, uses the same real-time PCR machine. We have built-in controls that detect false positive and negatives, and currently in trials to determine efficacy and potential use. So just to give you an example, basically what we are trying to find out is patients who have a higher ratio of subgenomic to genomic. So in a patient who has very small amount of subgenomic to genomic ratio, most likely the virus is long gone. Whereas in patients who have a higher ratio of subgenomic, so here the ratio that I'm showing you here is subgenomic to genomic. So here they are all equal. It's 5 times more subgenomic. Here it's 10 times more subgenomic. Here it's 100 times more and 1,000 times more. So you can see that you can, by simple cybergreen assay, we can actually differentiate between the subgenomic and genomic and know that these patients, for example, this one definitely, this one also probably, as it actually has active live virus in the system. So the way we are working, where we are doing this is anybody who has done qPCR with cybergreen knows that there's a melt curve which is used to detect the specificity of the assay, because in cybergreen we do not have the fluorescent probe. So that is it's sort of a less specific method, but that specificity is overcome. The absence of specificity is overcome by looking at the melt curve. So here what we are doing is we have selected this temperature 75 degrees, and at 75 degrees, if there is a big enough difference between the subgenomic and genomic, we will be calling this patient positive. So here's an example of 2 patients. We have a negative patient where the graph looks something like this, and when we look at the derivative of the genomic versus the subgenomic, there is no difference. And whereas in a positive patient where the graph looks like this and the genomic and subgenomic has a significant difference, then the result is positive. Okay, another big application of this assay is that last Sunday, not the Sunday that just went, a week before that, or maybe two weeks before that, FDA has approved emergency use of convalescent plasma. I know many people in different parts of the world are actually using it, but there was no active protocol available for that. So FDA has put everything together and given a emergency use authorization to the use of convalescent plasma therapy. Now, what is convalescent plasma therapy? A patient who has had the infection has developed antibodies in his system and has recovered. Okay, once the patient has recovered, for a certain amount of time, there will be some amount of antibodies, something that is known as neutralizing antibody, something that will prevent the antibodies that will prevent the binding of this virus to cell by adding a blocking antibody. This process is called convalescent plasma therapy. So in order to collect this plasma, you need to the patient who has recovered needs to go to a plasmapheresis center where he or she will sit for a few hours, and then only the plasma will be taken from his or her body, and the rest of the blood will be returned back to them. And that plasma, from one patient, that plasma can be given to approximately 10 patients. One recovered convalescent plasma patient, one convalescent plasma donor can actually give 10 units of plasma to be given to 10 different patients. So imagine, this is a very, very good thing. However, you have to know that this will only work in patients who have active infection. This doesn't matter if the patient is very sick. Covalescent plasma at this moment is being tried only in patients in which other therapy did not work. But you have to remember, covalescent plasma will only work if there is an active virus left in that patient, no matter how sick he or she is. So our test would be able to differentiate between a patient who is just sick versus a patient who still has active virus. Because you remember, when a virus attacks a human body, it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. So even after the virus is gone, the patient can be sick, very sick, for a very long time. But at that stage, there is no active virus, and covalescent plasma will not work. So our assay will be able to make a significant difference in this field. Okay, so finally, I would like to acknowledge the people who have done this work and the sources which have funded this. So I'm working with New York Department of Health, and Dr. Christine George is the chief virologist of New York Department of Health, and her two very talented scientists in the lab, Darrell and Sarah, have been instrumental in developing this technique. And I'm also working with an organization called HRI, which is providing the relationship between us and New York Department of Health. Funding, I have received funding from these institutions in order to do this job. The Gargi is my postdoc, who is, because of this COVID-19, is unable to do her own regular research and is kind enough to help us in this COVID-19 study. Srinjoy is my son, who goes to Weill Cornell Medical Center and Hunter College, and he wrote this code which I presented in the Anotech website. Sindura, Josh, and Tista are high school students who have actually done the data analysis work that I showed you for the COVID-19 analysis. Okay, so I'll stop here, and thank you very much. Oh, no talk of mine can finish without showing a mountain. So I'm a great mountain lover. So this is Mount Kanchenjunga from Tiger Hill, taken last year. I don't know again when I'll be able to go there, but thank you. Okay, so let me go back to the main screen. I think that's the main screen. I'll stop presenting. Okay. Thank you. And I'm happy to take questions if there are any.
When the patient is false positive, then he or she is not infectious? This is the first question.
Okay. Yes. You are only infectious when you are actively shedding virus. Okay. Now, it is quite possible, and we have data of a number of patients now, that is that they are still PCR positive, but they don't have active virus anymore. So there is an extended period of time where the PCR remains positive, but you're not actively shedding virus.
Sir, what is plasma therapy?
Plasma therapy, okay, that was my last slide actually. Plasma therapy is a process by which, suppose I got COVID-19, okay, and I am a healthy person. I never had any of the morbidities that I was showing, and I recovered from that disease. Okay, once I recover from that disease, I will have neutralizing antibodies present in my blood. Okay, so I will what I need to do is, if I know that I have that, I need to go to a plasmapheresis center and donate my plasma. Okay, so I can give enough plasma that can be given to 10 patients who still have active viral infection. So my plasma will have antibodies that will prevent the virus from entering the cell. It will block that. Okay, so this is called plasma therapy. People have been trying this for some time, for a few years. In fact, just to give you an example of what plasma therapy actually is, a very good example will be snake venom. Snake venom, when a snake bites a person, the horse's venom, a horse's antivenom, contains antibodies against that particular protein, venom. So if you can give the patient the antivenom within a certain time, the protein which is present in the snake venom gets neutralized. So here, imagine that is exactly the kind of a scenario where an antibody present in a patient who is cured is actually preventing the binding of the virus in a patient who still has active infection. And the patient who gave the plasma doesn't have an active infection anymore. He is cured. And the patient who has an active infection will benefit out of this.
Are asymptomatic COVID patients highly risky in carrying infection and virus?
Yes. Yes. At asymptomatic patients, in fact, the chart that I showed you is by and large from asymptomatic patients. They have very little symptom, but what they have is they are actually shedding the virus. Yes.
Okay. Is the virus endogenous or exogenous?
Is the virus endogenous or exogenous? I would go with endogenous, but the jury is still out. Jury is still out. We really don't know, because every day we are finding new information about this virus. So it will be foolish of me to comment on either of the sides. But I would, I mean, if I had to, somebody was holding a gun on my head and asking me to take one side, I will take endogenous side.
Okay. Sir, these days we are seeing more and more asymptomatic patients. Why is so? Is the virus becoming weak?
When I was in All India Institute of Medical Science, we had a popular joke that the dumbest of the virus is smarter than the smartest of the virologists. Okay. So honestly, we know so little about this virus that it is too early to say that we are, whether the patients are becoming asymptomatic. What I can tell you from the experience of talking to people all over the world is that more people are now getting infected. And when you have a larger number of general population infection, the chances of people with comorbidities goes down. So remember, the symptom is going to be higher in patients with comorbidities. So initially what was happening was we still had people who were asymptomatic, but we just didn't know. Testing them, and we know that the virus, that our immunity is going any strong, that it's a number game. Now we are, and we are only testing at least in, I don't know what's happening in India, but in certain parts of United States and in Australia and in
just a month ago, and now we are testing more and more, so the number increases. The number of asymptomatic patients are included in that statistics.
Yes.
Yes. So when the mortality rate is depicted 3 or 4% in May or June, and now this is 1.5 or 1.8%. So this rate of mortality, is it declining, or it is a vague idea?
No. See, I mean, it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both. Let me give you an example. I have been following in Worldometer right from the beginning of this pandemic the percentage of sick people. Okay, that so many people have the infection right now. Of that, how many are serious and how many are weak? That number was 5%, and now it is 1%.
Yes, sir.
So things have happened. Two things have happened. Number one, many more people have gotten tested. So
Yes,
when you screen, like I said before, initially we were only testing people who are very sick.
Exactly.
But as the time went by, we started screening people who are contacts, who are possibly some kind of an infection or something like that. So many people who have been screened now have turned out to be positive but asymptomatic.
Yes, sir.
That is one reason. The other reason is that from January to today, the medical community has gotten better at treating patients.
Okay.
Publications have come out, and the physicians have read those publications and they're following them. So I think we have learned a lot about this virus in the last couple of months, and screening has also got increased. Again, these two reasons combined together are giving the idea of low mortality.
So the strengthening of the immune system or decreasing the strength of the virus, it is not true according to you. It is not true actually.
I mean, see, I am a scientist. I only believe when there is concrete data, which is mechanistic. Okay, mere association is not enough for me. I need to see a mechanism. There was an idea of BCG in BCG being given to patients, and those patients faring better with COVID-19. I'm yet to see a mechanistic paper which will show that any antigen that is given in BCG shares any domain with the COVID-19 virus or with the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So when I will see that, I'll believe it. But right now, it is still a hearsay.
Thank you, sir. Now the questions. Just a minute, sir. Is there a viral load difference between symptomatic and asymptomatic patients? How can we know that the patient was infected? Sorry, these are two questions. Okay, I will go one by one. Then, is there a viral load difference between symptomatic and asymptomatic patients?
Now, this is a very tough question because, first of all, till date, nobody in the world is estimating the viral load accurately. All the QRT-PCRs that is being done is actually, I won't say nobody, I would say less than 1%. Less than 1% of the cases are actually quantifying the amount of virus. Okay, all the tests that is going on is plus or minus. There is a threshold beyond which you consider it to be plus, and less than that you don't consider it to be plus. But this is going to vary tremendously from day to day. Remember, I showed you a bell curve. So depending on what time you took the patient's viral load estimation, you will be so I mean, if the question is heading towards that if a patient is infected with 3 virions, he will not get the disease, and if he is infected with 20 million virions, would he get the disease? Probably is right, but we don't have data to say that in a confirmed way. What we know is that by viral culture, patients with higher viral load tend to have viral culture positive infection. Okay, and patients with a very low amount of viral load, the cultures don't grow. So whether that means that PCR is actually false positive or not is what we are studying. We are trying to understand that low viral load, was it due to actually small strands of RNA floating around, or is it still the same virus?
Okay. How can we know that the patient once infected is free and does not shed the virus?
Repeat the question.
How can we know that the patient once infected is free and does not shed the virus?
No, patient will spread the virus. No matter whether the patient is symptomatic or asymptomatic, if the patient is infected, will shed the virus for a certain amount of time. Now, what will vary tremendously between patient to patient is how long that patient is actually spreading the virus. Whether it is going down by about 8th day, or is it still continuing for, I have seen patients, in fact, we're working with samples with those patients who are virus positive, actual active virus positive for over a month. So asymptomatic or symptomatic, viral spreading does not matter. Whoever has got the infection, had the disease, whether it is symptomatic or not, will shed the virus for the initial few days, definitely.
Thank you, sir. In convalescent plasma, what would be the genomic and subgenomic ratio?
In the convalescent plasma, what would be the
genomic and subgenomic ratio?
I told you that there is no virus in the blood. So there is no question of genomic and subgenomic plasma in the blood. If the question is, how do you cut off a patient with a genomic and a subgenomic ratio and give him plasma? Answer is, I don't know yet. We are actually working on that right now. That is, where would be the cutoff? Would it be 1 to 100? Would it be 1 to 1,000? That a patient actually has a virus infection.
Sir, can you hear me?
Someone has his microphone on.
Participants, please turn off your microphone and camera, please.
I saw a question in the chat box from Amol Bera. Since I know Amol very well, I will give the reply to him.
Lots of questions.
Amol is asking a question: Is the Indian strain different from what you get in US? Yes and no. There are some unique strains which are being reported every day, but by and large, there is a homogeneous spread of the strain. And if the question is directed towards knowing Amol very well, I think what he's really asking is, are the diagnostic tests going to work in India? The answer is yes. Because when a diagnostic test is designed, it is designed to cover all the strains.
Sir, can specific miRNA be used for COVID-19 detection?
Detection or cure? miRNA detection. I don't think anybody knows about miRNA, but yes, option is still there. I assume that you are saying the miRNA source being the infected cell. If the miRNA source is the infected cell, yes, the jury is open. But I haven't seen any publications that are doing that. But yes, that is possible.
Sir, what are the criteria we should see before deciding the type of test to be taken?
Type of?
Test. The type of test to be taken.
Type of test meaning, are you going to just reduce the volume a bit? This thing is, all right. Your microphone is extremely good. So the volume is very high. Okay. So if you think that you are at the beginning of, you should definitely do PCR test. Okay. And if you think that in January I had a throat infection and did I get COVID today in August, then PCR definitely will not be positive. You may be antibody positive. So depending on how long, initially, if you are in close proximity of somebody who has the disease, you should definitely take the PCR test. Okay, you take the PCR test, and once you are PCR negative, then only you should continue monitoring yourself with the antibody test.
What is the turnaround time for your detection tool?
You mean in the lab? There's a huge echo. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Our turnaround time here typically is about 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
24 to 48 hours.
If two persons are wearing masks at the same time, one is infected, how much possibility is there for the transmission of virus?
Could you repeat the question, because you're getting broken
Sure,
up.
sure, sir. Participants, please turn off your mic and camera. I don't know what's the problem. Anyway, if two persons are wearing masks at the same time where one is infected, how much possibility is there for the transmission of virus?
See, this is a very what can I say, vague question. What is the kind of the mask? What is the efficacy of the mask? What is the infection spread rate? Did the person cough? Did the other person, is the other person immune compromised? This is This is just like, this is almost like a Jyotishi's question.
Can a cancer patient can donate plasma?
No. No. Cancer patients are not allowed because plasma donation follows the same rules as blood donation. Okay, so if you are HIV positive, HBV positive, HCV positive, if you have a certain diseases, you cannot donate plasma because it follows exactly the same rules as blood donation.
Yes. Is there a risk of developing the virus again if we had already took treatment for this and been exposed to this again?
Like I said, there are about 4 confirmed patients globally who have gotten the reinfection, and 4 more patients are suspected, but there are thousands of patients who are PCR positive even after the virus is gone. So suspected patients were many more, but right now there are very few. So the chances are very, very low.
How far is RAT test dependable for COVID-19?
Which test?
RAT test dependable for COVID-19.
What is RAT test? Can you please ask the...
Can you please clarify the RAT test? RAT test. Can you please clarify in your chat box? In children, a multisystem inflammatory syndrome appears to be linked with COVID-19. Can you highlight on this issue?
Yeah, it is a very, very big problem. Okay, so basically what happens when you get the viral load, when you get the infection, is the disease starts in the nasopharyngeal cavity. The disease starts in the nasopharyngeal cavity and then goes to the lung. Okay, in the lung, there is a huge inflammatory response. Okay, inflammatory response is a response of the body. The body responds to this disease by producing a whole lot of inflammatory cytokines. Okay, these inflammatory cytokines do what is called almost a damage to the body. In the recent publications regarding children with a viral load of almost very small have been detected to have a very strong immune response, and that is the the cytokine storm that we are talking about. Okay.
Actually, can I proceed?
Yes, please.
Sir, actually there is an idea arising all over the world that the COVID-19 patients who have died is not the problem of the immune deficiency, but the hyperimmune activation or hyperinflammation. You have already said that. I think this is a link between these answers.
Yes,
and
I have heard that too. I've heard that too. But the problem is how do you run a clinical trial? How do you run a what can I say, an estimation of a patient who has had a number of comorbidities and then dies? What we can do, and that is being done in multiple hospitals. I know that in fact, day before yesterday, was it day before yesterday or was it last week? Yeah, it is very recently. I was giving a talk in which Professor Andrew Pollard was participating. Andrew Pollard, as you know, is the professor who is working with the Oxford assay. So he is talking about multiple events that they are seeing, very similar to what you are suggesting. So I think only time will tell us what is really happening. At this stage, there are multiple groups reporting multiple things, but like my PhD co-mentor, Professor Shubrata Sinha used to say, that only time will tell which science is correct versus which science is just mediocre. So I think at this stage we don't know. But yes, I have also heard that the patient death is actually happening due to body's own response as opposed to
hyperinflammation.
Right. And another thing that I can tell you that actually supports this. I have personally seen data where the virus culture is not giving lytic response that we normally see. So this virus is really unique. This virus is really unique. So I think a lot more research needs to be done before we can comment on these valuable points.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Oh, that is rapid antigen test. Okay, okay.
Oh, yes, rapid antigen.
Rapid antigen test should work. Yes, I gave you an example of that. I think one of the companies that is presenting that. Let me see. Hold on. I think one of the companies that I spoke about, Sophia SARS antigen fluorescent immunoassay is actually a rat, according to you. So yes, it will be active. It will be active, but the sensitivity is still a question. You see, one of the advantages of PCR is that it amplifies. So even a trace amount of material can be detected. The rapid antigen test, there is no antigen amplification. It is just signal amplification. So I don't know what the sensitivity is going to be. But yes, of course, you should be, if it is sensitive enough, you can use it.
Okay. Sir, an infected patient after recovery has been said to still have the virus in their system. How infectious or how inactive is that virus?
No, that's not true. If a patient is fully recovered, he has no infectious virus left in his body. Okay? He may have a small amount of RNA floating around in his nasopharyngeal region, but he definitely does not have an active virus, because that's the way a patient recovers. The body develops antibodies. The antibodies neutralize the virus, and virus is unable to grow. So, and a patient who has recovered definitely has no active virus left in his body.
Sir, is there any side effects due to suffering from COVID-19?
Very sick. So isn't that a side effect? I know patients who have recovered, come back home after ventilator and all, and are still suffering from inflammatory lung disease or other symptoms. So it takes a long time for somebody who has been in a ventilator for a month to recover. So yes, there is one side effect you can say is that you can now become a plasma donor. A positive side effect.
The positive side effect, yes. Sir, if someone is asymptomatic and he or she does not test, so what would be the result? Is that giving them herd immunity? It is a question of herd immunity.
Herd immunity is difficult. To be honest, it is difficult. Just to give you an example, polio vaccination has been going on for many decades. We still don't have 100% protection from polio. So you can imagine what this would be. And I want to take this platform and actually discuss the idea that many people are thinking that the moment the vaccine will come, our life will become better. Just to give you an idea, Edward Jenner discovered the vaccine for smallpox in 1774. And smallpox got eradicated in 1980. So, vaccine is definitely helpful, but right now the only thing that we can do is precaution, and of course the plasma therapy. The plasma therapy seems to be working.
Sir, can you highlight on the vaccine development?
Vaccine development, okay. All right, I heard from the big boss last week. I was giving a talk in a UNESCO, actually it was not, I'm part of a UNESCO team that has been doing this regular meetings to discuss what to do and all. So they organized 2 meetings in India, one from Bijapur and one from Bengaluru. So I was talking in the second one. Actually talking both, but in the second one, Professor Pollard was immediately after me. So what I can tell you what he said, that their vaccine, the Oxford vaccine, which I have biggest faith on, is going to be available sometime beginning of next year. And depending on how successful it is, it will be available globally. That is for sure. Moderna's RNA-based vaccine is also going to be available. That's what I'm hearing in US. But the RNA vaccine has its own problems. That is, it's an RNA vaccine. So you need to develop a very different kind of production facility, a different kind of distribution facility, because RNA needs to be sent in dry ice, a different kind of delivery facility. The nurses need to be trained, the doctors need to be trained how to give an RNA injection. This is not going to be a regular injection. I mean, it may ultimately be, but right now we have to use a DNA gun. So my bet is the Oxford vaccine is going to come out first, and will be really well tested, because the group that is leading it are thorough professionals. They and a lot of money has been invested into this. So I think we should all look forward to that. Okay.
Okay, I think I have covered all the questions. Maybe.
Thank you.
Sir, last question, sir, please. From Shayoni Mukherjee. Shayoni is a postdoctoral fellow at Rutgers University.
Yeah, that's right. My next door.
Yes, sir. So I have mentioned this. Sir, do you think that brain's respiratory centers are mostly affected areas in the brain of COVID-19 positive patients? That's why the patients are not getting recovered from the mechanical ventilation.
Okay, this is two questions, not one. The first part, I don't know. I have no idea. But I can tell you the answer to the second part. The second part is, as a part of this UNESCO team, we had been saying from a very long time that ventilator is not going to help this patient, because ventilator works in patients where a part of the lung is damaged. Whereas in this case, the lung becomes holistically damaged and fenestrated. So in this case, ventilator is actually doing more harm than benefit. So we should try to, at least in New York, we saw this a lot. We were, when the disease first became big in New York, we were scared of the experience from Italy, where they had to choose whom to give the ventilator. Old people were not given the ventilator, younger people were given the ventilator. So New York, the medical community in New York was very scared. And we decided that we will procure as many ventilators as needed from all over the country, from one of the world, whatever the cost. So the medical, New York Department of Health actually bought ventilators from all possible places. We never ran out of ventilators, even with the huge number of patient load that we had. So even at that stage, what was discovered was that many patients who were put on ventilator actually did not benefit from the ventilator. So this is now well known that a pure oxygen therapy is better for majority of the patients than ventilator. I'm not saying that nobody needs ventilator. There are some patients who will still need the ventilator, but majority of the patients will recover better with an oxygen tent with a high density of oxygen.
Okay, I'm sorry if any question is left unanswered. I feel sorrow personally. Anyway, the time is the main constraint for us. So thank you, sir, to accomplish rising demand of knowing the intricate details of COVID-19.
Yeah. I hope this will be over soon.
Yes, sir.
Because believe me, for the last 6 months, I don't think I ever had an 8-hour sleep day. So I have we are all very, very tired.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully this will be over.
Thank you once again, sir, for joining us from such a long distance and satisfying our queries as far as possible. So thank you once again.
Dr. Dhar has my email address. If anybody has any questions, please email me. I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Your lecture was a window through which we had a glimpse of the latest kind of research that is going on, and your lucid presentation was actually nice, and we were spellbound by your presentation. Thank you for sparing your precious time despite of your busy schedule. And, sir, it is the lecturers like you or the professionals like you which make this kind of seminars such a success. Thank you so much from the Department of Home Science. On behalf of everybody, I thank you all. So with this, our session comes to an end, and tomorrow we will meet again. But there is one announcement that tomorrow we will be meeting at 4:30. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Video. Ma'am, we will see the video or not?
Yeah, I can hear.
Will we see the video?
So now the video which had some problem. Okay. The problem, initially the video was having some kind of a technical problem. Now we will watch the video. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm requesting all the participants to stay with us because we will play the video which we have not featured earlier. Pubali ma'am, can you hear me? Pubali ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm trying. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
present screen develop.
In this year, 2020, the entire world changed completely in front of our very own eyes. Due to the alarming rise in cases of COVID-19 around the World Health Organization declared a public health emergency of international concern, the highest level alarm under international law, who confirmed the coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. On 24th of March 2020, the government of India ordered a nationwide lockdown for 21 days as a preventive measure against the COVID-19 pandemic. When the entire country was under lockdown, the frontline COVID warriors were busy in their line of duty. The doctors, nurses, lab technicians, pathologists, dietitians, other medical staff, the sanitation workers, the police, and several other government officials were working day and night to serve the nation, to serve the people in this emergency situation. Diet therapy is a crucial aspect of treatment in any disease, including dietitians and nutritionists have an important role to play in reducing risk of complications, shortening recovery times, and rehabilitation. Several students from the Department of Home Science, University of Calcutta, are currently working as dietitians in reputed hospitals across the country. Therefore, on the occasion of National Nutrition Month 2020, we take this opportunity to express our gratitude to all our seniors batchmates, and juniors who are dedicatedly working as dietitians in this pandemic situation as frontline COVID warriors. We managed to contact a few of them and we have requested them to share their story with us.
এই যে মার্চ মাস থেকে আমরা যে লকডাউনে ফেস করছি এখনো পর্যন্ত আমরা কিন্তু অন্তত মনে একটা কোভিড এই শব্দ কিন্তু কমন আছে মানে আমরা যখনই আমরা রাতে শুতে গেলেও আমাদের এই ওয়ার্ডটা মাথায় থাকে ঘুম থেকে উঠে ঘুমের পরেও এই কোভিড ওয়ার্ডটা কিন্তু আমাদের মাথায় থাকেই।
কারেন্ট প্যান্ডেমিক সিচুয়েশন আমাদের কারোর জন্যই কোনো রকম সুখদায়ক স্মৃতি নয়, তবে একজন হেলথ ওয়ার্কার হিসেবে আমার কাছে এটি একটি সেলফ লার্নিং প্রসেস। যে মুহূর্তে জানতে পেরেছিলাম আমাদের হসপিটাল কোভিড ডিক্লেয়ার্ড হসপিটাল হিসেবে ঘোষিত হয়েছে, প্রাউড ফিল করেছিলাম, কারণ সেই সময় এই অঘোষিত যুদ্ধের সৈনিক কিন্তু আমিও ছিলাম। আমি একজন ডায়েটিশিয়ান হিসেবে এটুকু বলতে পারি যে হসপিটালে ডায়েটিশিয়ানের রোল কিন্তু অত্যন্ত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ। যে মুহূর্তে মানুষরা গৃহবন্দী হয়েছে সেই মুহূর্তে আমাদের ছিল বাড়ি থেকে বেরিয়ে ডিউটি করার সময়।
Right now, in this pandemic situation, I am a member of RT-PCR group. The patient came for the test, COVID test, and we have to do their screening.
ডায়েটিশিয়ান হিসেবে প্রধান চ্যালেঞ্জ যেটা আমি পেশেন্টের ক্ষেত্রে ফেস করেছি ডিউরিং দিস কোভিড ফেজ, সেটা হচ্ছে পেশেন্টের মেন্টাল ব্লকেজ। পেশেন্টরা কিন্তু প্রচন্ড পরিমাণে অ্যাংজাইটিতে ভুগছিল, ডিপ্রেশনে ভুগছিল এবং সেই কারণে তাদের খাওয়া দাওয়া তারা অলমোস্ট বন্ধ করে দিচ্ছিল। আর পেশেন্টদের কাউন্সিলিং খুব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ছিল থ্রু আউট দিস প্রসেস। এখনো চেষ্টা করি যে সমস্ত পেশেন্ট অ্যাংজাইটিতে ভুগছে তাদেরকে প্রথমে সঠিক কাউন্সিলিং দেওয়া এবং তাদের এই কনফিডেন্সটা আনা যে
ভয় পাওয়ার দরকার নেই, জীবন মানসিক স্বাস্থ্য বজায় রাখা এবং খাওয়া দাওয়াটা ঠিকমতো করা।
আমার কাজটা বেসিক্যালি ক্রিটিক্যাল কেয়ার ওরিয়েন্টেডই বরাবর ছিল।
আওয়াজ বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে?
Yes, ma'am. Cannot hear. We just see the video but cannot hear. It is not audible. Ma'am, can you hear me? It is not audible, ma'am. We cannot hear anything. We just see the video but cannot hear anything.
একটা অন্যতম চ্যালেঞ্জ।
সংগঠন জনগণকে ব্যালেন্স ডায়েটের মধ্যে সুস্থ রাখা যায় সেটা বোঝা যায়। যেরকম আমাদের সাইন্টিফিক বলবো যে একটা ওয়েল প্ল্যান্ড ডায়েট, একটা ওয়েল ব্যালেন্স ডায়েট in order to keep yourself healthy and fit, সেটাকে মাথায় রেখে আমরা সেভাবে ডায়েটারি অ্যাডভাইস দিয়ে থাকি।
ব্যালেন্স ডায়েটটাকে আমরা ফলো করব, অ্যাবসলিউটলি হোম বেসড ব্যালেন্স ডায়েট, যেটা আমরা সবসময় রেকমেন্ড করছি। ইমিউনিটিটাকে মেনটেন করব।
For diet, I will prefer high protein diet and also immunity boosting diet. I suggest vitamins, minerals, and zinc rich food and also supplements.
I will be requesting each and every member of this meeting to stay put and not leave the meeting. We will be showing the video is something going technically wrong. We will sort out it soon. There is some technical problem occurring, which I'm not sure, but it will be sorted out very soon. We are very sorry that we cannot show the video in spite of our efforts, our vigorous efforts. We cannot show the video to you. It's our fault or technical fault might be. We are sorry. We express our regret to you. Now we come to an end of our session for the third day. The webinar will start at 4:30 p.m. sharp tomorrow. Dr. Gerard Pujadas, University Lecturer of Universitat Rovira Virgi, Spain, Professor Orjita Dotto, Professor, University of Calcutta, and Professor Mukund Karawe, Professor, Rutgers State University, USA, Editor, Journal of Food Engineering, will be with us tomorrow. I would request Dr. Purva Chattopadhyay ma'am to come on the platform and conclude the meeting. Ma'am, can you hear me? Ma'am, can you hear me?
Purvadi, can you hear us?
Purva ma'am, can you hear?
Her mic is unmuted, but she's not
responding.
Able to hear. Today there is lot of network problem is going on.
Anna Lakshmi ma'am, can you please conclude the meeting? The people.
Okay, thank you once again. Okay, I will just finish it off. Thank you once again for your patient listening. And we have come to the end of today's lecture series. We will all meet you tomorrow sharp at 4:30. We have 3 more eminent scientists delivering their lectures tomorrow. Please join us tomorrow at 4:30. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you all. Have a good night. We will meet again. Okay.